How are we not talking about this? What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your favorite mask collector's favorite mask collector, AJ Good, here at the House of Masks, where we unbox and review cool stuff almost every single day, but not today. No, today I wanted to take a moment to shine some light on something that I feel was very overlooked and not talked about, which I found strange and a little disappointing, because any other time that a Slipknot member does anything, even of little to no importance whatsoever, I feel like that's all I see in my feed for weeks on end. Corey Taylor farted today? Sid Wilson woke up and had coffee? Jim Root clipped his nails. But not this. Now, I, myself, did not see this posted anywhere, not in any of the Slipknot groups over on Facebook. I didn't see any of the Instagram pages covering it, and I think that that is a real shame, because this interview between Clown and Rick Rubin is something, to say the very least. Now, I know that there was probably a collective sigh from a bunch of people that are watching this right now, because being a Slipknot fan for as long as I have been a Slipknot fan, I have seen the comment sections under Clown's interviews, and I know that a lot of people out there are not a fan of his interview style. And I'll admit, I've definitely been on both ends of the spectrum over the years. Sometimes Clown's interviews do seem a little edgy and very vague, which can get annoying. He definitely has a cryptic way of speaking, but other times they do manage to capture this crazy feeling that was a large reason as to why I fell in love with Slipknot to begin with. The pain, the anger, the artistry, the message. So, needless to say, I feel pretty fair and very unbiased with what I am about to tell you. Now, hear me out. This interview that Clown did with Rick Rubin is really, really good. Like, really good. Now, before we dive too deep into this rabbit hole, I just want to take a second to say that I hope that you're having a good day. For me personally, it is a Friday, so it's the start of the weekend. It is absolutely beautiful out, and I am hoping to obtain a lifelong dream score tomorrow. So, fingers crossed. But I hope that you guys are having a good day as well. I hope that you're ready for a good weekend, and I hope that everything that you want to happen happens. And don't worry, because if you're not having a good day, that is okay too, because tomorrow is quite literally a new day, and you know what we say about new days around here. Every new day is the first day of the rest of your life. So take that with you, think about it, apply it, and make tomorrow the day that you want it to be, okay? Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back into it. I just told you that this is maybe my all-time favorite Clown interview. It is really, really good. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about the interview itself. I have never heard Clown talking in the demeanor that he is here, and it's in such a positive way. Like, up until this interview, the Clown interview that stuck with me the most was the one where he talks about his parents dying and mentions the 1 hour rule.
Towards the end of my third record cycle, I lost my father. And I remember it in a very bad way, because I had gotten off a tour and I was off for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I saw my dad and mom once. So I went over, I saw my dad before I left, right at the end, and we got in a fight, and I wasn't there 15 minutes. And I was out on the road, and I was in Toronto, and I got a call, and I was devastated, and that's when the 2 hour rules start coming into play, because I started thinking to myself, wow, if I would have taken 2 hours a day for all these years that I hadn't been going to my folks, my dad and mom woke up early. I could have got my butt out of bed at 7:30, taken a shower, gone over to my parents' house, drank coffee with them, hung out with them until 10 o'clock, come home, and had the rest of the day to do whatever I want, feel good about myself. But instead, I slept till noon, And I started realizing, wow, all it would have taken was 2 hours a day Just 2 hours a day. I know that my dad would love spending 2 hours with me today. So the fourth record comes. Next thing you know, #1 record. And then I'm in Toronto, and the phone is just blowing up. I'm like, I'm not answering the phone for anyone. Finally, my wife calls me 7 times, and I pick it up, and she's like, your mom's dying. And she's like, you gotta come home. My mom had Alzheimer's and dementia. So I came home, and I spent 4 days with my mom, and she passed. I got this 2-hour rule, but here, my mom's passed, and I didn't even go see her for that many years while she was in the hospital because I was too afraid. I didn't like looking at her like that. I couldn't handle it. That's what I convinced myself of. I had a hard time being with her. But looking back now, I should have just sat there and held her hand and read Dr. Seuss books, showed her pictures of Rembrandt, and said thank you. Doesn't matter if you're there or not, I'm here. I'm gonna spend these 2 hours. So I have severe regret by not living by my own rules.
Which I really have tried to implement into my life since I watched that, and I know that I need to be better about it, and this video right here is my little reminder, so shout out clown. But that interview was on the sadder side of things, whereas this interview, well, it's pretty much everything, but it is so positive. There is so much new information. Just something about this interview gets me so inspired and hyped up. I love it. I swear that the day after I listened to this interview, I was telling my mom about it, and I played her the first few minutes, and then this was her response a few hours later. She went back home and listened to it on her own and absolutely loved it. I think that that is so cool. I loved this interview so much that, you know, I'm pretty close with Clown's assistant. She is like my internet bestie. We are just absolute idiots together. And even though we talk every single day, we really don't ever talk too much about Slipknot, especially Clown. Well, this interview was so good that I hit her up and was like, yo, what the hell? What an interview. I just had to let someone who kind of understands and gets it know just how valuable I found this interview. And I mean, look, I'm making a video about it right now, weeks later, because I think that it's that important. Clown is just speaking different here. He sounds happier than I've ever heard him. He sounds at peace. It's almost comforting. And shout out to Rick too, because Rick does a great job at letting Clown speak. And as someone who's done their fair share of interviews and podcasts as a guest, my absolute all-time biggest pet peeve as the interviewee or as someone that's just listening to an interview as a fan is the interviewer constantly interrupting me or the person that I am tuned in to listen to. Rick just lets Clown do his thing in this one, and it's so human. It's almost wholesome. So yeah, dude, I just wanted to shine some light on this interview because I feel like the community really missed out with this one, and I want to draw some attention to specific talking points that I really enjoyed from it. Now, obviously, I am not going to be playing the interview, not only for copyright reasons, but also because if any of these topics seem to intrigue you, I would love for you to just go check out the interview for yourself and then come back here so that we can discuss it. Now, don't you dare leave until you finish the video, but yeah, I would highly recommend going over after this video and checking the interview out and then coming back and letting me know what you think about it. So, let's go ahead and dive in. Now, the first talking point that I want to mention is probably the first talking point that he mentions, and he is talking very heavily about Paul and Joey at the beginning. And I mean, come on, these are conversations that you are going to want to hear. As Clown is telling these stories about Joey and Paul, you can almost see them like you're watching a movie through Clown's story as a memory or something like that. Like you can feel Joey and Paul sitting next to Clown as he's telling these stories. And man, it is so cool. The first time that he met Joey or Paul and Paul predicting his future, it's just so cool. Very, very cool. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just something that you guys are going to want to check out. Now, the next point might be one of my favorite points because I relate to it so much. Now, there's a point where Clown starts talking about discovering Kiss, and more specifically, Gene Simmons, and I swear to God I have never related to anything harder. And it's crazy because he's telling the story word for word how I feel about how I discovered Slipknot. The feeling that he got the first time that he laid eyes on Gene Simmons and saw him with the face paint and makeup and blood and sweat is exactly how I felt about seeing Clown and Joey and Sid for the first time. In my 6-year-old brain, I was them and they were me, and it changed my life forever. And I don't know how else to put it, but Clown explaining how he discovered Gene Simmons and how that changed his whole world is pretty much spot on 100% word for word what happened to me the day that I found a photo of Slipknot in a Rolling Stone magazine when I was a kid. Now, there's another part later on in this interview that I also relate pretty heavily to, and that is the part where he is talking about his dad's taste in music and how his dad made sure to instill that into him through exposure to things that he might not enjoy at the time or maybe ever, but that one day he would look back on and have a real appreciation for, and I feel that so hard, especially lately. Now, my dad never really forced me to enjoy or embrace anything that I didn't want to, but I have noticed a lot lately that I've been thinking a lot about how when I was a teenager and how I couldn't find music that was heavy enough. You know, I was into Whitechapel and Black Dahlia Murder and The Faceless, and I just wanted heavy, heavy, heavy all the time. I was always searching for something heavier, and I thought that my dad was an absolute goofball at the time because I was searching for the next heaviest thing because my dad had gotten me into heavy music when I was younger, and now all of a sudden my dad is like cosplaying a redneck guy listening to country music every single day. He's jamming like Tim McGraw and Gretchen Wilson, and I just didn't understand it. I thought it was so silly. But wouldn't you know it, as I get older, I seem to start every single day off the same by listening to Tim McGraw and Joe Diffie and George Strait on my way into town to grab my morning coffee. And you know what? I love it. I love it so much. It makes me think of my dad. I've had this conversation with my dad within the past week. I think that that is awesome. I genuinely love it. You know, where the green grass grows and 2 dozen roses. So to hear Clown talking about his dad in a very similar vein, very cool and very relatable. So the last relatable thing that I'm going to mention here, because I don't want the whole list to just be my personal list of oh, this reminds me of something that I've done or been through or whatever. I'll do one more of those and then we'll get back to the regular list, if you will. But there's also a part where he talks about going to see Pink Floyd and how all he had to do was pass a test the day of the Pink Floyd show to pass his grade, but he skipped it to go to the Pink Floyd concert. And it reminds me so much of being in summer school in 2004. I had failed my grade, so I had to go to summer school to pass. And you better believe that I got to the final week of summer school and I skipped out to go to Ozfest, which made me flunk summer school. And who did I go to Ozfest to see? Slipknot. It was my first time seeing Slipknot, and I literally threw away the entire summer of summer school and then the next year because I had to repeat that grade because I wanted to go see Slipknot. I needed to go see Slipknot. And again, it was just another game changer, another no-brainer, and to hear almost the same exact story coming from Clown, very full circle, and I just can't get enough. All right, so back to just Slipknot fandom in general. There is a segment about the numbers, which obviously the band has been asked about to no end since they started, but I have never heard them explained in such great detail, especially by Sean, who I kind of remember always being somewhat protective of his mask and his number and what exactly they mean to him.
We can't speak for the rest of the band. What I will tell you is that I'm not going to tell you what mine means.
All right.
Some of what goes into my number that I've really never told anyone, and it's only a small part of everything that I believe in with my number, is that 6 represents all the directions, up, down, left, right, forward, and backwards. That's all I'll tell you.
So to hear him open up as much as he did about his number is very cool, but what's even cooler than that is to hear him explain how Sid and Joey's numbers came to be, because he kind of gives you a lot of information about their dynamic, and it's really fun. Once again, he's almost painting this picture for you to imagine in your head about how stuff used to be in the early days of the band, and getting a glimpse into his relationship with Sid and Joey and Paul is something that I could listen to him talk about for days and not get bored of. Trust me, if you're a Slipknot fan, you're definitely going to enjoy this section of the interview. Now, I'm starting to think that I've talked enough, and I don't just want to sit here and reiterate the entire interview, because I do genuinely want you guys to go check it out for yourselves. So for the last part that I want to talk about, it's when Clown starts mentioning the mate, feed, kill, repeat days, and more specifically Anders, because I feel like that's something that Slipknot have mostly ignored through their careers. So to hear him talking so highly of those days and of Anders is so cool to me. He gives pretty high praise to Anders, and he talks about just how much scarier the shows were back then and the stuff that they used to get away with on stage, and it's just so sick to hear him so excited about these memories that he has of the MFKR era. Now, there's been a few things lately that are just seeming to pull me towards the mate, feed, kill, repeat record cycle, and this is definitely one of those things, so I guess it's neat to actually have some modern MFKR stuff going on to look forward to, like the Anders MFKR show at Woolies in Iowa in about a week, actually, and I really cannot wait to see the footage and the photos from that, so I think that's going to be sick. If you guys are in the area, please go to that show and document it. I definitely want to see what is going on out there, and consider yourselves lucky if you do get to go. I am very, very jealous of that. So yeah, dude, to hear Clown actually talking highly about the mate, feed, kill, repeat era and about Anders is so sick, and it gets me very excited for what's to come with Anders, and it gets me very excited to go back and kind of revisit the MFKR era, which is something that I've never really done anything other than dip my toes in. I am not very well versed in mate, feed, kill, repeat, but stuff like this makes me want to go back and revisit it and become an MFKR master. So yeah, dude, I think that that is the last talking point that I would like to mention. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a rough idea as to what exactly is in this interview, and I'm stoked on it. It's got me so pumped up and inspired, and just hearing somebody that essentially raised me talking in a manner that I've never heard him talk, with a demeanor that I've never quite seen him in. It just brings me like a sense of joy and peace, and I respect it, and I'm just stoked about it. I've listened to this interview like 4 times all the way through now, and I love it. I'm recommending it to everybody, and I'm recommending it to you guys. So please do me a favor, go over and check that out. I will link the original interview down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment, and then come back here and let me know what you guys thought of the interview. Let me know your favorite part. Let me know if there was a part that you had a problem with. I don't know. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts and have a general discussion down below with you in the comments section. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and help me play the YouTube game. Go ahead and like the video and hype the video up, whatever the that means, and make sure that you are subscribed. I am getting extremely close to 200,000 subscribers, and I would like to hit that in the year 2026. So make sure you're subscribed, even if you think you are. YouTube unsubs people from me all the time. And that's all I got for you. So thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.